Hi, everyone. So we're going to give it just another minute or two to let everybody come in, but we're super excited to see you again for the 5th night of Ignite. I also did send you all an email this morning that had all the recordings that we have so far. So if you didn't get those, let me know, because that means I don't have your email. But you should have gotten all those recordings as well as the materials, but I'm also going to put the materials in the chat for you this morning as well. But like I said, we'll wait just another minute or two to let everybody in, because I'm still letting lots of people in from the waiting room. But super excited to see everyone tonight. Again, my name is Melissa Stoker, so I'm the one who's been reaching out to you all throughout the time that we've had Ignite going on. So if you ever have questions about logistics, materials, recordings, anything like that, let me know, and I will make sure we get that stuff to you. Okay. And Brandon, when do you want to give it like another minute, or you want to go ahead and get started?
We can give 1 or 2 more minutes. Good morning, or good morning. It's been a long day. Good afternoon, everyone. I see some familiar names in there. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good morning.
You know what? Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's start that way. Good morning.
That's how we need to start it off. You guys ready for a good class this evening?
Yes.
All right. So here's my big thing. I need energy, right? So Melissa will tell you I'm a high energy person. I move 1,000 miles per minute. And I love to engage, all right?
Yes.
So I will tell you guys this right now. If we are going forward and I ask a question and no one answers, I swear on everything, I will sit here in silence until I get a response, because I need that engagement, all right? So you engage with me, I engage with you. Deal?
Deal.
There we go.
Yes.
All right. All right, let me figure out how I need to switch my screens here. Give me one moment.
And just for those of you who might have missed it yesterday, again, my name is Melissa Stoker. I'm the operations coordinator who's been reaching out to you all about Ignite throughout the whole session. I did want to remind everyone, in case you weren't here last night, that the financial basics class was moved from a Tuesday to a Monday. So it's going to be March 7th rather than March 8th. So we will not have class on March 8th. So just keep that in mind. Just wanted to put that out there. I've been adding it to the emails as well, but just want to make sure while you're all here and I have a captive audience, I can let you know about that update. I did also put the materials in the chat. So if you're looking for the materials tonight, you should have them there in the chat.
Oh, which screen am I sharing? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's 3. Perfect. Let's see. Here we go. All right. All right, so we'll get started for a quick bit. To introduce myself, my name is Brandon Martinez. I am the team leader of Keller Williams Legacy. And to give a better example of who I am, I actually changed the title from team leader to director of relationships. Why? Because I love the relationship. I love the relationship so much. That is how I think we should do our business, how we grow our business, and how we are productive in this industry, right? Forgive me because I have 3 monitors in my office. So at times I'll be looking directly at you or I'll be looking off to a side screen. So bear with me. My role. So I have over 300 agents in my market center. With those 300 agents, I am constantly in meetings where I am talking about growth, development, your business plan, really your mindset of how to take you from your initial point to your next level. And a lot of those conversations, we're having breakthrough conversations, meaning how to break through a plateau. You reach a certain level in your business and you try to figure out, what do I need to do to get to that next step? And that's where I excel. That's the conversations that I love having. Why? Because to me, every day that I wake up, every day that I come into this office, I'm focused on one thing. How can I provide value to somebody through the course of a day? So if that's what I'm focused on, that's what you'll get from me, is somehow, some way, a way that I can provide value within the class that we're going through this evening. All right. So a couple questions. Does anyone have any questions about what we're covering tonight or the materials before we get started?
No.
No, we don't.
There we go. Engage and I'll engage. I appreciate that. And now, so far, you guys have had how many Ignite classes? 4 sessions so far? See some head noddings. Great.
Yes. Yes.
Who would like to share what they've learned along this journey so far? Leslie, go and turn the camera back on. We saw you.
I would say for me, a lot of the learning has been the technology. I think some of the best beneficial things I've learned so far is just like technology. When we're going through something, whether it's like the MLS system, KW Connect, the app, but I think the hands-on part of going through like the apps have been like the most helpful part for me.
Okay. Love that. The technology is phenomenal, right? We are a technology company, so we love to share in that. And what else? Who else is excited to share what they've learned and what they're going through so far?
I'll go next.
Oh, okay.
Or we got time. We got time.
No, just real quick. I learned one important thing in these last couple of days is that I chose the right brokerage to join.
Cheers to that.
I have done my research during the course of my studies to get my real estate license, and it always led back to Keller Williams. And these last couple of nights, listening to the instructors and everybody chime in, I've learned that I've got a great team. I have great technology, awesome people willing to help. And I just love that. I really love that, because in order to succeed, you need people around you who have high energy like you. And I just love it. And that's what I've learned. I've learned that I joined the right team. So thank you.
Man, I appreciate that. Thank you, Lewis. Gwen, I think you were jumping in.
I just wanted to share that I learned how to set up a smart plan. That puzzle in working in command. I just didn't get it, but now I see how that can really help grow my business.
You know, that smart plan is phenomenal, and I have some great coaches in my market center that still help me with my smart plans on a regular basis. So no, that is absolutely a phenomenal thing to learn to be using. Absolutely phenomenal. You guys keep throwing in the chat, energize, communicate there. I will jump in. I'll be reading. I'm a little bit delayed because I'm going through a few things, but I'll touch base on that also. Here's a question. I love to think of things and think of challenges as opportunities. So what's an opportunity that you guys see in yourself going through this class and being in real estate? What's a great opportunity that you've witnessed or that you see in front of you now that you've joined?
I learned that getting leads or getting people to put into your database is nothing but a conversation. And it's not something that you should fear. It's something that should come natural to you. If you enjoy talking to people, then you really shouldn't have any issues when it comes to getting leads, because it's just having conversation.
And you want to know a secret? As much energy as I have, and as much as I love to talk, do you know I thought that was the hardest thing to lead gen until somebody broke it down, just what you said. A simple conversation sparks everything that you need for lead gen, because that conversation now turns into somebody who goes into your database, and now your database can start working for you. Once somebody told me that, it was like a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, oh, you know what? This thing isn't so difficult. We can have conversations on a regular basis. So that what you just said hit home to me, because that's where I start. That's where I saw the spark that changed in my career.
Well, that's the spark that ignited me these last couple of nights and really, really broke the barrier for me. And I cannot wait to start. I just got my license. I just joined Rob Kropp, a team, and I'll be sitting with Rob on the 25th for the first time, learning contracts. So I'm ready to go.
Oh man, excited. You know what? If I had the party horn, I'd buzz it right now, because you said the key word for the night, ignite, you know? All right, so today's class, what we're going to focus on, we're focusing on really how we're going to cultivate opportunities, right? But not just that, we're talking about our goals, right? And really the goals that we have. All right, no. All right, the goals that we have and how these goals are going to change things within your career. So the one thing about any business that we work within, you have to have a plan. And not only do you have to have that plan, you have to have goals. We'll show a slide that's going to talk about that in a moment, but just remember that, right? These goals are going to be the things that drive you throughout the course of your career. So, all right. So, you guys ready for a secret? You want to know what makes a real estate agent successful. Anyone want to know?
Sure do.
Yes.
All right. There is no secret, right? All it is, it's about the actions that you take on a daily basis, right? So success leaves clues, right? And we know exactly what successful agents do every day. And really, it's just what Lewis said earlier. It's about cultivating relationships, right? They're growing their business, they're running their business, right? It's what they do. So each activity that you guys see on your slide right now, right? These are the important parts of running your business, right? And if I really had to break it down, I always said this, and if I see somebody in the hall, I ask them this question. You have your own business, right? The answer's right in front of you guys, so we should all get this one. What are the two things that a successful real estate agent does every day?
Lead
Grow.
generate.
Business.
Grow and run your business.
That's it. Those are the two things that you do every day. Now, the steps that you take within inside of it may change, but those are the two things that if you focus on every day, right? We always use the Millionaire Real Estate Agent as our guide. It's our playbook. And inside of that guide and playbook, really, this is what it's telling you to do. It's showing you how to grow your business, and then it's showing you the steps that you need to run your business. That's the two things to focus on. So if we're talking about the secret, that's your secret, right? There really is no secret sauce. It's just paying attention to being uber focused on those two areas. So the goal of our time, well, since we're going to model what successful real estate agents do, we're going to put our energy and effort tonight into these categories, right? We'll talk about lead generation for buyers and sellers, but we're really going to focus on those two things, setting goals, right? And you guys are already accomplishing number 8 by being here tonight. And I'm giving you applause to you guys for showing up, right? Attending training and getting coaching. That's going to be a key to make sure that you understand how to grow and run your business, right? By focusing on that, you guys are already focusing on what you should be doing with your business every day. So you're taking those steps to be a successful real estate agent, all right? So let's figure out what we're going to do here, right? So I like to have fun. I'm energetic. I love to smile. I love to laugh, right? And I actually my team had to talk me out of telling everybody that they had to come in person tonight because my mind said, bring everybody in person. Let's go. Let's have some fun together. But they said, we got too many people. Let's do it on Zoom. And it's last minute because I just flew back from Orlando. So we're working on Zoom today. But I do have some people in the office here with me just because they're in my market center. So I like to have fun. You'll see me engage. You'll see me pull out props later on, right? So what we cover today is setting goals, right? Which is part of you running your business. And then to do that, we're going to ask some big questions. The big questions that we're going to focus in on is, where do you want to go? Now, to get there, you got to have understanding of this. What's your motivation? And last but not least, if we have big ideas on where we want to go and where do we want to be, well, we got to figure out, how are you going to get there, right? So the module for today, set goals that matters. And let me ask this question. What makes a goal that matters? Or what makes a goal matter?
Your big why.
Okay. What's important about that big why?
I think that's your motivation. Your
Your
motivation.
business.
Yep, it's your motivation. It gives you a path for your business. Absolutely. Absolutely. See, I'll give you one of my big whys, right? This was something that I struggled with for a while, but this is where setting a goal has transformed my life, right? So was very successful, right? So I was producing close to around 40 million. And honestly, I was actually, this is right before I hit that stretch. So was relatively successful, 12 million, not really worried about it, doing good enough to live the life that I want to live, but didn't really have a goal or a path that I wanted to focus on. Get married, have kids, or have my first child. And I had to figure out what's going to be a goal. What am I going to change? And one thing that I realized is I didn't want my kids to ever have to work for someone else. So to set that up, I now need to have a business that's in place for my kids to be a part of, right? So that's a goal that actually mattered because it has something long-term for me. So one thing that I realized was they may not want to work in the field that I'm in. And I think about people who have extreme passion, and I'll be honest, at that time, we're talking 2012, 2013, I can't 100% say that I was fully passionate about my job, right? And I can't even say job, but my career at that moment in time. It was something I did relatively well, but yeah, I could always do something else if I really needed to. But my wife, however, she was super passionate about what she does. So she's a doctor of physical therapy. And the passion that I saw she have in her job every day, and me thinking about my first son, or my first child was born, my son, it was, how can I set this up so he can have a choice of where his path is, right? I don't want him to ever have to feel like he has to work at one place. I want him to see that there's different options. So I set a goal that day. I'll do whatever I have to do to make sure my wife has a physical therapy clinic open in her name. So we fast forward, and we are talking 2021. So right, that was 2012. 2021, we opened the first clinic. Right? But we talk about goals that matter. It means so much that now my kids, and now I have a daughter as well, that they sit there and they think about what they want to do, that they can go work for mommy when they want to, right? Or can they come to the office with daddy and work with daddy today? That was something that means a lot to me, but setting a goal that you care about will make all the difference in your world. I worked harder, I worked smarter, I did everything I could to be purposeful in my day to make that change, right? So setting goals that matter is something that can take you extremely far. Has anyone else on this call set a goal that mattered to them that's changed or affected their life? I see a couple of heads nodding. Share.
All right, I did. I decided to, I was in the medical field for 28 years. And I then went to the corporate side of it, got a taste of corporate America, and I didn't like it. And I decided to retire from the medical field. Now that my two kids are just about finishing college, and I decided to reinvent myself. And just like you said, I decided to work for myself. I am no longer going to work for anyone else. I'm not looking back. I'm looking straight forward, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to become a successful real estate agent. That's my goal.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Recently, I decided that I am not okay with using I don't have money as an excuse to not take care of my health and to avoid going and seeing a doctor or seeing a dentist or a therapist or anyone else that I need to help keep me healthy. And I don't want having a partner to make that even harder.
You know, this phrase was said to me, and first, I don't know if it's I'm hard of hearing or I'm hard-headed, but I'm one of the two, right? It might be both. But you can't take care of anyone else unless you take care of yourself. So that goal that you have, it matters. Because for you to make a change in someone's life, right? And you think about the path that we're in real estate, we have an opportunity to affect so many people and change their lives. But you can't do that unless you take care of you. I love that goal. Don't let anything stand in the way of you doing what you need to do for yourself so you can help others. All right, so has anyone on this call heard of the book, The One Thing? Donna, yep.
Yes.
All right, and for those who haven't, let me give a quick interview or a quick introduction to it. The One Thing is a book written by Gary Keller of Keller Williams, right? And Jay Papazon. Also, by the way, our director of coaching, she had a one-on-one meeting with Jay Papazon for a couple of different business ventures and structures from our coaching program. Cheers to Alana, awesome job. But they wrote a book, and the book that they wrote together was about how you can achieve your goals, right? So today we're going to be talking about one of the principles from The One Thing. If you haven't got that book, or if your market center hasn't provided to you, ask someone there. I guarantee that one of the agents in that market center has a copy, and they'll be willing to share with you. All right. I want to read this quote. So someone volunteer and jump in and read the quote for us that's on the screen.
Who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish.
Powerful. So thinking about this quote, why is it important to set goals?
if you don't have any goals, you never know if you've accomplished anything or what you wanted to accomplish.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A quote that I just used earlier today is, a plan without a goal is just a dream, right? And if you got a dream without a plan, well, you just got to wish, But, the truth about this is think about the opposite side of it, right? The opposite side is, what you do and what you accomplish determines who you are and where you're likely to go. If we don't have that guiding goal, then you'll likely be very busy and won't have a lot of things to show for it, right? How often and I can use myself as a perfect example, days that I'm running a mile a minute and I don't have my calendar in front of me, or I don't have a goal set for that day. And now it just feels like I'm that car spinning its wheel in mud, right? And any of us felt like that, where you just get spinning in mud that day and can't figure out which direction you're headed? Those are the days we're operating. Yep. And that's when you were operating without the goal, without that plan. So, as powerful as these words are, the opposite side of it's true. And when we're unfocused and we're just moving around, that's when we got to reassess. And those days where your wheels are just spinning, what do we do to reset? Take a deep breath, stop, let me get my calendar back in front of me, and now I'm organized, and now I can accomplish a goal for that day, right? So setting goals that matter, if you do that, that means that the work that you do matters as well, right? And then when we're doing work that matters, you know what actually happens? You start doing more of it. So we think about the production and just go back to my career. If we're looking at 12, 13, and just floating to that level, once I had a goal in mind of what I wanted to achieve, then we jumped to 22, then we jumped to 40, then we're at 40, because now we got goals that matter, and you're going to do more of it because you start to do it well. And you do it well, and you start noticing the changes in everyone's life. At Keller Williams, does anybody know the mission of KW? Mike, you know it? All right. So remember this. The mission of KW, we want to build careers worth living, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. It's a powerful mission. It's a very powerful mission. What you got to realize is none of those things just happen. This is where that work comes in. This is where the goals matter, and the goals make a difference for us. So a part of achieving those goals, right? Like I said, none of it just happens. It's the hard work. And I think we all can agree that, nothing in this life comes easy. We're going to put in some effort. We're going to put in some time, right? If you don't, then we know you're not going to go very far. So if we look at this graph, it's important. I guess what's the question? What else is important to setting and meeting your goals?
An action plan.
Action plan? Yes, absolutely. Let's see. X and Y axis. It'll be on the X axis. Starts with a T, ends in a G.
Thinking.
Say it louder.
Thinking.
Absolutely. You got to think. You got to think big. If you're not thinking big to where you want to go, your outcomes are not going to be that large. I was at family, so when I was in Orlando at Family Union, it was a conversation that I had with one of our agents that, we're talking about the path and where they want to go. And they were mentioning that some of the people on their team, they just don't seem to either want to stay or they're reaching a plateau and you can't figure out how to go further. And I asked them one question. I said, how big are your goals right now? Because if your goals aren't big enough, then they might not see their future with you because your goals aren't high enough for you to get there. So if we're thinking about our lifestyle and where we want to go, you have to think big. The bigger you think, the bigger your goals will be, right? You don't get big outcomes with small thoughts, right? So we talk about, thinking here, and we're talking about thinking big when setting goals and thinking big on how to reach those goals. So you have to ask, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? Who are you going to do it with? So Bowman Keating, he actually taught a class, might be 7 years ago. And he said something in that class that it stuck with me, and it'll probably stick with me forever because I share it with everybody now, right? And I don't even know if you remember saying it, but you know, we talk about thinking big, but when you don't necessarily have a goal at the moment and you're attaching yourself to somebody, right? They become your lattice, right? And you're a vine. So how high can you climb if you're a vine? You want to go towards the largest lattice you can possibly get to so you can be the largest vine possible, right? And that lattice is almost your thought process. If you're working towards achieving a goal and you have a small lattice, right, a small thought process, well, that vine is not going to go very high. The larger you think, the larger your goals can be, the larger your outcomes will possibly get. What's the phrase we always heard when we were kids? Shoot for the stars, you'll land on the moon. Hell, shoot for a different galaxy and see what planet you land on. Let's just not shoot for the moon, right? Let's really go out there. We want to make a difference. We want to make a change. That's what we'll get there. We never want to limit our outcome because our mind tells us that we can't, right? So asking that question, right? We think about our thought process and the actions that come with it. Think about this for yourself right now. How big is your box? Right? If you're not thinking big, you're creating an artificial ceiling of achievement. And there are only so many hours in the day, right? We talked about spinning our wheels in the mud, and there's only so much that one person can accomplish in those hours. So, engagement time. We've all had moments in our lives where we didn't have a goal big enough or we thought small. Somebody tell me about a time they limited themselves by thinking small and not having a big enough vision.
I can tell you when I first got a personal coach because I wanted to grow my business, but I didn't want to ask for business. I didn't want to lead gen. I didn't want to knock on doors or make calls or do any of that because I don't like to ask for things. Don't like to ask. So I didn't want to ask for the business. And my coach said to me, okay, so don't ask. Offer to help them. Because you come from a giving heart, offer to help them. And it was like, oh my God, I can do that all day. I can offer to help everybody.
Yeah.
But I can't ask you for the business. And so that's how I got around that.
A limiting belief was holding you back. I mean, that's an example. Anybody else? I mean, Donna, that's phenomenal. That's so true. And a lot of us experience that same thing. Who else limited themselves by thinking small?
When you interviewed me when I first signed up and you asked me how much money I wanted to make, and I just said some dumb number, and you were like, think bigger.
Yeah, you know, sometimes I got to jump in the moment and I won't let you just live out small, especially in front of me. But yes, that is a perfect example. It's endless opportunity of what's in front of you here, right? And that's a perfect example, especially when we're new, right? We limit ourselves right away. We don't want to call our fear. We think we're too new, that we don't want to embarrass ourselves in front of our friends, in front of our family. Like Donna said, I can't ask for business, so I just magically hope that it's going to come my way, right? We aren't convinced on using the systems for lead generation, right? We refuse to do script practice or learn the scripts that can help us in those conversations, things that make our job easier, right? And a lot of times you find out that people don't stay in the business because, and this is my big thing, we're all business owners. This is your business. And you got to treat it as such, right? What are two things a successful real estate agent does in their business every day? They grow, they run their business, right? So you got to remember, this is a business that you're doing, right? Now, if you're just spinning your wheel, then what also happens? People burn out, right? Because you're not seeing a return on your time and your investment, right? And getting the results out of your effort. So,
Excuse me, Brandon. I'm sorry to interrupt. Someone mute their phone. I mean, their line. I have a hard time hearing you.
I think we got it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So we're going to run an activity. All right. And in this activity, this is where we're going to envision our big life. Right. So what I want you to think about, if you have the activity guide, all right, you're going to be on page 3 of that participant guide. If you don't have the participant guide, then you can grab a piece of paper and do this, right? So essentially, the diagram that you see in front of you on the side of the screen, you're going to draw that diagram out. What I want you to do is think of this vision, right? We're going to set goals that are going to bring you closer to this vision. And now, once you start to get to those goals, we're going to talk about how we reach them and how it all begins. So in the rectangles that are outside of the oval, what I want you to do is write a person or a cause that you care about. Now, the person or the cause that you write in there, what would you like to do for that person or that cause? What would you like to do for it? As you write that in the rectangle, I want you to do it for each rectangle. Another person or another cause that you care about. Write that in. I'll give you a few minutes to input that information. And think about for each one, what do you want to do for them? What do you want to change? Give you an example of what it looks like. My mother. So my mother has, we're family. So she has a rare condition with degenerating brain tissue. Mike, I don't even know if you knew this. So the end of last year, I had to go to Kansas City, Missouri. I'm from Kansas City originally. I had to take her car away from her because she's no longer able to drive, or we were no longer confident in her being able to drive. And then in addition to that, we moved her into a 55 and over community. Actually, she moved herself into it, but with her condition getting worse, she suffered, we thought it was a stroke. It just turns out her brain just stopped telling her body to function. We had to figure out a better living arrangement, even though she's in a great community, which she's on all the advertisements for, by the way, too, which is just funny about my mother. But her sister moved in, so we had to move her into a larger home. All of those things come at a cost, and not just the cost for money, but your emotional and your physical standpoint and what you do daily. So for me, she was 2 of my boxes last year. One, because we had to have enough money to move her to where she needs to be, but then 2, just making sure that she was being taken care of, right? Like it was a huge, it was a huge part of my big life, right? It was a huge why for me. So, that's an example of what went inside my boxes, right? Another example is I don't take vacation. And my wife used some very pleasant words to tell me that we need to go on vacation. So now I had to go ahead and put inside of the budget, put inside of my mind, and one of those boxes was a vacation to be planned out for us, right? So think about a cause, think about a person, think about something you care about and put it inside the box, right? Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm an aggressive clicker. All right. So and don't be afraid to put yourself in one of those boxes too. It could be something for you, right? I heard the young lady mention earlier that she has to take care of her health, right? There's nothing that's going to stand in the way of that. So if there's something that you need to take care of your health, then that should go inside of that box as well. What I also want you to include in there, and you kind of heard me mention it with my mother, is the cost associated, right? So for her, we needed to have an additional $40,000 to be able to transfer her from the 1-bedroom villa to a 2-bedroom house inside the 55 and over community. So that was, and it happened in a short period of time from July to September. We needed to have those funds ready to go. So I had a short window to make those funds, but that was a goal that I set aside for myself. So put a financial amount next to those goals and what it would take to achieve it. Now, what I want you to do in the center circle, I want you to add up the cost of each one of your rectangles. how much each one of them costs. Right? Now, some parts of your big life, some of those things are just time. You know, some of it's going to be money, but as a business owner, remember this, you'll need to budget your time, but as a business owner, you budget your time in terms of money, right? So if you know how much you're worth an hour, right? Some of us in real estate, we should be worth a large amount. I'm going to use one of the newer agents as an example. They closed their first transaction. I broke down the amount of hours they worked in real estate and how long they worked on that transaction. And they found out that they were worth $82 an hour, right? Last time I broke it down, I'm worth $185 an hour, and I should be going back to 192. But think about that. So if there's something that you mentioned with time, how much time will it take? Multiply it out. Use $100 an hour and see how much you'll need for it. All right, when you complete the task, throw in the chat, give me the thumbs up, give me an okay, or verbally just yell, I'm okay, I'm ready to go.
Is this for a year or for a lifetime?
That is a great question. The answer to that is within you. So as you have things listed on there, if you have a lifetime goal, so an example of that would be the vacation. I now need to take a vacation a large vacation every 2 years, right? So that vacation should cost me around $10,000. So I know the yearly aspect of it, but then I know the annual. A long lifetime goal that we also had was funding the cost of college for the kids, $480,000, right? So for that cost, I can break it down to what I need to save a year for it, but I know the lifetime amount. So for you, it's independent to what you think, but break it down annually too. If you have a lifetime goal, what you need each year for it. Oh man, you know what? I'm not set up because I usually have my music playing in the background while we have our activities. Shucks. Oh well, I can sing. All right, remember, type in okay or take yourself off mute and let me know you're good to go once you wrap up. No rush, we got some time. I said I give you 10 minutes, we got a little bit of time. Hey, I usually play it on here and have it playing on my speaker back there.
Brandon.
Yep.
So never mind. I figured it out. Never mind.
No, ask away. Ask away. If you have that question, somebody else does too.
No, I was just going to say, no, I'm just going to total up my yearly for the next 5 years and then break it down for the year. I didn't need to ask you that.
Yep, you got it. I'm going to tell you this. Whenever you have a question in your head, even if you answer it, I guarantee that somebody else has that exact same question.
does that. She does it all. She'll take this recording tonight, put it back in normal.
Okay. How we looking? I got a few. Once I get the majority good to goes in the chat or hear the verbal confirmation, we'll move forward.
Hey, Brandon, what is Keller Williams legacy? I'm brand new to KW and I don't know what that means.
Keller Williams Legacy. So we are the Keller Williams office in Towson, Maryland. So we are in northern Baltimore County. Phenomenal group of agents, phenomenal group. So I said earlier about 300 agents in the market center. We're usually closing between around 130 to 100 to 150 transactions every month. Very profitable, very successful, and always growing. So if you're ever looking to add to your profit share, we are always looking for great agents. And it would be awesome if you refer to anybody in the area who wants to jump into real estate, send them our way. We're excited to have them.
Thank you for sharing.
Yep. Where are you out of?
KWRC in Columbia.
Okay. Awesome market center. Awesome market center.
Yeah, we're excited about it. Kim Zuroff and the band of crazy pirates.
Yeah, they tend to match our energy pretty well down there. So I like them good. Kim Z and Mike Z are some great guys. So great guys and gals, I should say. They are awesome.
Yeah.
Do you know that they can see me on the floor?
All right. So what you guys just went through, what did you notice as you're filling out everything inside the rectangle? Matter of fact, let's rephrase it this way. I'll have somebody share with me one of their rectangles.
I'll go. Private school for my youngest for 3 years.
What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. It means that she'll be away at school, safe and sound, and mom and dad can live their best life.
I'm not mad at you. I am not mad at you. Now, how much does it cost to fund that life?
$195,000.
Okay. That 195,000 is just for 1 year, or that's the culmination of the 3?
3 years.
Okay. Okay. I like that goal. I like that goal. Who else? What does somebody else have inside one of their rectangles?
I had the same thing. I had private school for 2 kids yearly at just about over $20,000.
Okay. What does it mean to you?
It's important to keep them in the school that they're in, so it's pretty important.
Okay, so they're already inside the school.
Yep.
Okay, so we're maintaining. Yep. All right, we need you to get some time to live your best life too, so we understand. Right. Who else? Who else had a big? Who else had something in their rectangle?
I wanted to pay off both of my sons' college debt, so they don't have to worry about that.
Nice. And you want to pay off their debt. What does it mean to you to be able to pay that off?
It means the world to me because my sons mean the world to me, and I want them to start their life without having such a burden under their belt. College is just way out of reach for a lot of people, and a lot of these young people are graduating from college so far in debt that it's unrealistic. So I would like to help them pay off that debt.
How much do you need to do that?
Well, there's two boys. Both of them are attending Penn State, economics and finance. And I figured both of them together, it'll be about $490,000.
Okay. I think it's awesome what we've heard, what we're doing for our kids. And I just was reading in the chat, that is a great one that's been listed. To pay off my mom's mortgage as a repayment for all she's done for you. Tasha, that is phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal. You know, as you guys wrote it down, and we just heard, we want to, you know, fund our children's education or pay that off. But what was a big aha? What was something that you realized as you were writing this out?
Going to cost a lot more than you thought when you actually put it all together like that.
Okay. It'll cost more than we thought. What else we got?
Actually, I'm sorry. Actually, my aha was my goals that I wrote when I did my business plan at the beginning of the year. I actually have my goals that you just had us do is less than what goals was for my business plan, which means somewhere along the line I got to up my goals.
Okay. Okay, I think we just made a real realization right there. I like that. I like that. I mean, but this is the part of writing it down, right? We got to see. Latrice, I think you were going to say something. Or Leatrice, I'm sorry.
Yes, I was going to say even when I was looking at some of the chat, a lot of people life goals consist of helping others.
Yes. Yes. You know how, and that's the thing, and that's the beauty of who we are and the culture that we built. You know, we think about our big life and our big why, right? We always have that conversation. A lot of times people have that conversation and they're thinking there's supposed to be some magical thing that's out there that's supposed to click inside of you and say, you know what, I'm more determined than anybody else. But when you really start writing those goals down and you really start to see that big why, you're going to notice that a lot of things and a lot of the reasons for what we do is because of other people, right? And that makes such a difference, right? And that can be that driving factor that will make a change. You know, Natasha, one thing that you put in there that hits home to me, I had to pay for my mother. She's not working anymore. She can't work anymore. So to me, that is a huge why, to make sure that she has the life she wants to live. When she tells us she wants to go to California, there isn't a win. It's a, if you're going tomorrow, fine, here's your ticket. All those things are important to me. Like, and it's important because people will do so much for you, right? And Donna even said it earlier. For her to go through her business, when she had to ask people for business, it was a block that was there. But then when she realized if she was asking how can she help somebody, it makes a difference in her business. It's that mindset that we have. And notice for a lot of us, that's part of our big why. That's a beautiful aha, a beautiful aha. All right, so now we've got an ability, you wrote down, you created your big why, right? So now we have a vision, and now we have a goal that's attached to it. All right, we're gonna look at what it's like to achieve it through real estate, right? No matter how big you think that number is, I'm going to tell you we can achieve it, right? There's a reason why we follow a book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, because we have millionaire real estate agents, right? And teams that we work and run with, we can get there, right? Oops. Sorry, my aggressive clicking is taking over again. All right, so we want to look at the money that goes into getting where we need to be. To get those goals, we got to understand how commissions work. Now, a lot of us, we get our first commission check. Don't do what I did. Don't go spending it at the local bar, thinking about what brand new car I'm going to buy. If you saw an interview I did with an agent recently, before they had their first transaction closed, they went and bought a Range Rover. We got to be a little bit smart with our money, all right? Right? Because when you get that first thing, we want to pocket it all because it's nice to get a huge check, right? And usually trouble comes down the line when we realize that, ooh, you know, I probably should have held on to a little bit of those funds, right? So let's talk about where the money's going to go, right? And how much you actually, from each closing, will actually go towards your goals, right? I'm going to use these numbers in general. We're only using it as an example. So the actual amounts will vary based upon where you are, especially if you're on a team. But let's just take a look. So the first side, let's say you're the seller, right? And on the seller side of the transaction, that means half of the amount of the commission is going to be split, right? Same's true if you're a buyer's agent, half that commission is going to be split, right? So now that we get half, then about a third of that you receive from your commission is going to go to your market center, right? That's going to cover the company dollar or your split that you have to the market center, right? It's going to cover your royalty fees that you have to pay. And then depending on what your market center has set up, it'll cover any fees that you have that goes to the market center, right? All right, now, after you pay the market center, roughly another third, this is where we make the mistake. But another third of that commission should be going back into your business, right? If you're investing in your business will continue to fund, right? You're covering the marketing, your operating expenses, any signs that you buy, the mileage for your car, the wear and tear on your car, repairs, gas, your cell phone, anything else that you use to conduct, that you use to grow your business, right? So finally, you get your profit, right? Your true profit, right? With a caveat. That caveat is, please don't forget to pay your taxes. Please don't forget to put the money aside to go towards those taxes. Now, I am not a tax accountant, check with them, but we all know that we have some taxes that we have to pay. So knowing that we're an independent contractor, please make sure we're putting money aside for those taxes, right? So this world of real estate, so much money to be made. What's an aha? What's something that you guys realize about the commission dollars that we have and the funds that we need to go in towards our goal?
If you go spending it all, you're going to be bankrupt.
That's right. That is right. I mean, but it's true to this, right? We can make so much money in real estate, but we have to understand we're running a business. It takes funds to run a business. You can still have a lot of profit that you can walk home with, but let's not forget that we have to reinvest in ourselves. So while we might get a $10, $15, $20, $30,000 commission check, part of that needs to be reinvested in what we're building and what we're working towards. All right, so give you some examples, right? So everything on this sample is, the slide example provided in red. Now these numbers are just general numbers. They are not specific to my market center. They're not specific to your market center. They're just numbers in general, right? So I'm going to show you what these numbers look like so we can get real about our goals. So we're going to use an estimate sales price, right? And this is going to help determine our GCI, our gross commission income. So the average sales price in the market center is roughly $300,000. The average commission from that transaction will be about $9 grand, right? So in my market center, it's a little bit different. My market center specifically, average commission is our average sales price is about $351. Our average commission is $95.32 right now. Yes, I know that number to the penny because I pay attention to it. All right. So if we take that commission, right, we need to figure out how much the commission is going to go to the market center. So if you know your market center's numbers, you can add them in here, but this is your GCI, right? The commission that you earn times whatever your split is, whether that splits to the team or to the or to a market center. And then what your cap is. We're going to use the cap here at $27,000. The royalty. So we all have the KW royalty that's paid at $3,000 a year, right? And that's charged at 6%. So for this example, this person would have $30,000 that would have to be paid out to their market center, right? So now if we add these things together, you get the max amount of money that you're paying to that market center over the course of 12 months. So now let's break down our income goals, right? What is our income goal? Look back at that oval. Now you know your income goal, right? Well, let's use our example here. So we want to get $100,000. We know the amount that we have to pay to the market center from company dollar standpoint and from a royalty standpoint is going to be $30,000, right? So A minus B, but now we got to put money back into our business, right? The total amount that we need to invest into our business, let's say, is roughly $50,000 a year. I'm sorry, A plus B plus C. So that means the total GCI that we need to earn in that year would be $180,000. So now what's the average GCI in your market center, right? Using this example, we're saying $9,000. So all we got to do is divide 180,000 by 9,000, or 9,000, yeah, 180,000 by 9,000. That's going to give our annual transaction goal, which is 20. I know we just did math, got a little confusing. Let's walk back through it. All right, A plus B plus C. That's your net income goal that you have. So whatever's in that oval, the cap that you pay to the market center plus your royalty is B. We add that together. The money you need to reinvest inside your business, 50,000, right? We're adding that in. That gives you the total amount that you need to make out of commission dollars. To figure that out, we just need to divide that by the average commission from your market center. This example gives you 20 transactions that you would need to close, less than 2 deals a month, right? So with this, now that we went through a little bit of math, now that people are a little bit confused, we got calculators coming out. What stands out to you? Aside me being loud enough. Say it louder.
20 is
The
not
20
bad.
transactions that we have to do?
Yep. So that's why there's 20 transactions. 20 is not that bad. You know, it doesn't seem unreachable anymore. Absolutely not. If you ran these numbers and you told me that you had to do 100 transactions in a year, I'm going to tell you in your first year, you're going to have a hell of a lot of work to go through. But it's achievable and you can reach it. The key thing about breaking things down and putting these numbers on paper is now it lets you see where you need to get to, right? It lets you figure out, is this can I accomplish this? Can I get to it? All these things can be done if you have a goal, right? What did we say earlier? A plan without goals is just a dream. Well, no, we all have plans that we're going to achieve, so we're going to work towards it, all right? So here's something that we talked about technology earlier. You want to learn something? Command can actually help you track these goals. That big life that you set that you want to achieve, you can use Command and it can actually input the goals for you, right? So because I talk a lot, I'm not going to walk us through how to go through it in Command, but what I want you to do, homework assignment. In the participant guide, it gives you information on how to get there, but then also this is an opportunity for you to go to the coach, for you to go to your team lead, for you to go to your MCTT, your Market Center Tech Trainer, and ask them how to set goals inside of Command. Why do you want to do it inside of Command? Because when you get paid, when you get compensated, guess what adjusts? Where you are as percentage to your goal. You know, it's one thing just to set them, but you need to track where you are towards your goal on a regular basis. You need to see it on a regular basis. You're going to be in Command daily. It's going to be worthwhile to have your Command and your goals set up, right? They will be set. They will help you achieve your goals, right? So write that down, homework assignment. Go to your Market Center Tech Trainer, your team leader, your productivity coach. Go to a senior agent in the Market Center. Have them show you how to go to set up your goals in Command. Worst case scenario, you can shoot me an email, shoot me a call, or shoot me a text, and I will find time to work with you personally, especially if you're in my Market Center. All right? All right, so we are roughly at an hour in. I'm going to give us 2 minutes to take a quick break. Actually, let me give everybody 5 minutes to take a quick break. I'm going to grab some water, and then we'll jump back in and continue going forward to make sure we're doing the right activities. All right? I'm setting the timer right now, so we have 5 minutes. We should be back about 7:05. Why can't I ever figure out how to use it? All right, coming up on 30 seconds left and we'll get started here. So it's a great question that was posed in the chat, right? Where can I learn more about the real estate industry and how it works before diving in to pursue leads? And I'm going to give you this answer. The leads that you need and how you're going to be able to help and cultivate people. I've been in this industry for 16 years. And I can tell you right now, I do not know everything. I don't know everything at all. And if I waited to have a full level of knowledge in real estate, you're talking about me not knowing where my mother lives, my wife's clinic not being open, me probably not being here right now. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you have to know everything or that you need to know nothing. But what I will tell you is the future that you want, being successful as a real estate agent, is more about the effort that you're going to put forward to work towards your goals than it is about any real estate book. Hell, you all passed your real estate license, right? So you learned a lot about real estate and the law and the legalities behind it to get your license. So you have the base level of knowledge that's necessary. But now it's the ins and outs. And you really want to know the ins and outs. So what your question is really asking is, how do you build a business that works so people can come to your business and know that they're getting the best service possible? Well, the best service possible is knowing where to go to get some of that information, being honest about not knowing it sometimes, and focusing in with them so that they can truly know that the person I'm working with on a day-to-day basis is honest, true, and has my best intentions at heart. Trust me, that is going to take you a lot further than being the smartest person in the room always. I tell my clients, I tell agents all the time, and I've recognized that this is a phrase of power versus a phrase of ignorance or a phrase of, just not having experience. And that phrase is just as simple. I don't know, but I'll get you the answer. And we're back now, but I'll tell a quick story. One of my favorite stories that I heard in business was about Henry Ford. And Henry Ford was basically being called out just for that, not being knowledgeable about how a car works, not being knowledgeable about knowing how to build a car or what all the aspects to a car can do, from, the engine to the blinkers to how the brakes work. No idea, right? But he knew how to build a business together. So what he did was he basically called a press conference. And he said, you know what? I had enough people questioning my business, my intellect, and what to do. So let's have a press conference. And you can ask me any and every single thing that you want to ask me about a car. Now, I can tell you that I may not have the answer, but we'll go through this press conference and we'll get it all. And in this press conference, he had a row of phones. Now, kind of dates everybody, but a row of phones that were lined up. And each phone called a different department. All right. So everybody who was cynical, start firing away your questions. And as they asked those questions, guess what he did? How does the engine work off gasoline? Great question. Called his engineering department. Boom. How do the brakes work? Call the people who handle the brakes. Where did you get the parts for the car? Great question. Call the fulfillment center. By the end of the press conference, he answered every question that was there. Now, this is a man who doesn't know a single thing about putting a car together, but he understands how to build a business and put together people who can do it. Each of you are in a market center that has resources, that has coaches, that has mentors, that has guides, that can put the energy and the knowledge behind you for you to be successful. The only thing that stands in the way of you helping somebody and achieving those goals is your belief that you don't have what it takes inside you. I'm telling you right now, you showed up tonight, you do. We're working, we set those goals on paper, you have a motivation and a why. We can get there. Now, your question was so pivotal because the point of the conversation today, I'm gonna be honest, the first time I ran through it, the first time I sat down and put those numbers together, we said it earlier, those numbers don't seem that big, they seem achievable. I was the exact opposite. I was like, man, my numbers are so large, this ain't even a realistic thought to have. There's nowhere in the world I'm gonna be able to achieve this, right? That's how I took it the very first time that I went through this. But the goal of the day isn't to be discouraging. right? The goal of the day is to equip you with the reality of how we're going to succeed. No matter how big your goal is, you can get there, you can achieve it, right? Real estate will give you that opportunity. All you have to do is know how to focus. Just focus your time, focus your effort. You can focus that on the right activities. It will take you where you need to be. So I mentioned the one thing earlier, and I think this is going to be time for me to go through one of my fun activities that I like to put together, right? So I told you I have props, right? So I'm going to read you a story. And then I'm going to show you what this story actually meant to me when I broke it down. So in the 1940s, a quality control manager of Joseph M. Giron documented a life-changing universal principle that he called the vital few and trivial many. The idea was that a relatively small percentage of our efforts lead to the vast majority of your results. He attributed some of his findings to the statistical work of an Italian economist, Vilfredo Pareto, who had observed that 80% of the wealth in his country was owned by 20% of the population. You know, as fate would have it, that broadly embraced principle became known not as Giron's law, but as Pareto's principle. Or you might have heard this simply called the 80-20 principle, right? Now, I'm not talking the 80-20 principle for Medea, but in business, this is the 80-20 principle in regards to 20% of your actions will lead to 80% of your results, right? And honestly, this may be one of the most powerful principles that you can apply to your life. It's about getting the most from your time and effort. It's about maximizing your results. Now, part of what we talk about in this, right? You know, you see on the slide of the 80-20 principles is big rocks, right? That 20% is your big rocks. All right, I'm going to do something. I'm going to show you an example of what this means. Let's see if I can figure out how to pin this. You see? All right. I think I just deleted the screen. Where'd it go? See, here's a perfect example. You can still teach a class even if you don't know how to work up the screen. Oh, what if I do this? All right, mic check 1 2 1 2. All right, testing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, and we can see your jars, but it's the same size as we are.
Should be able to. Yeah, this one's off mute. All right, and can you guys pin the screen that says KW Legacy to their home screen? I deleted it off this. I don't know how to delete it off.
Can we do what, Brandon?
Yes, I pinned it and now it's my screen.
Just
Just
go to
tap.
the top right corner of the box and
Here we go.
hit.
All right. So here's the 80-20 principle, right? We think about our life, the things that we have to do during the course of a day, right? And got a little candy here. This jar represents the 24 hours you have in a day. So now we have kids, we have school, we have coworkers, we have going to the dry cleaners, we have, you know, the conversations with coworkers, we have whatever task you've been putting off for 2 years, we finally jumped in to go through and do. Half our days filled up, right? In addition to that, now we got the tasks we have to take care of work, going to the grocery store, the different things that need to be done. Oh, but now we really got the big items that we have to get to, right? So bills to pay, we have different things to work through. And now here's the big rock that we got to take care of. How often is this? This is one of those things where we never have enough time through the course of a day to get things accomplished. Well, the reality is, if we look at that 80-20 principle and we focus on the 20% of the things that we need to go through in real estate, that's going to be your lead gen, right? Now, we focus on our next big items that we have to take care of, right? Those big rocks, whether it is growing and running your business. So the big one was growing. Now we're doing the things that need to run your business. Well, now let's look at all those other things that we have to go through. So now we have the kids, we have the phone ringing, we have, if you're dual career, your other career that's there. You have soccer, I coach Little League. We have other agents who are reaching out to you. You have so many different things that you have to be focused on, right? Well, guess what? If we focus on our big why, if we focus on those big rocks or that 20%, we just went from not having enough time through the course of our day to being able to accomplish everything that we want to go through. That's that 80-20 principle. That's that key of figuring out how do we get everything done and do it in a manner that makes a difference in our lives. So now, bear with me, I got to get All right, so there's time, right? We can get it done. So we just went through this story of the 80-20 principle or Pareto's principles, right? I've shown you the jar of how we can fit our big rocks in it. What's an aha? What's a takeaway that we have just from thinking about this principle?
Take care of the big things first.
Yeah. Know what your big things are.
Yeah. And focus on that and get that out the way. Then you can focus on the smaller things.
Right. You know, you go back to that slide of what's the most important thing that you have to do, or what are the two things that a real estate agent does every day, right? When they're focusing on their business, well, they're doing two things. They're growing or running their business, right? If you're doing those things, if you focus on that grow part, that's your lead gen. The run part, you're going to find as you grow business, you're going to know exactly what you need to go through, but that's going to make that difference for you. All right, let me share my screen. All right. So have somebody read the slide for me.
What is the, go ahead.
What is the one thing you can do right now that would make everything else easier or unnecessary?
That's your 20%. What's that one thing?
Hit the lottery.
Well, then that means your one thing is you got to buy lottery tickets, right? So, you know, and here's the thing that you want to know something about me. I thought all the self-help stuff, I thought all the motivational things. I can even tell you right now, sometimes I read in half the book and then I'm done, because once I get your principle, I'm good. I got it and I run with it, right? My mind just moves too fast. But I didn't believe a lot of it, right? I was a little bit skeptical. But this makes sense to me. But what I also hear is, yeah, I just do that one thing, everything else comes to it. So it's really a simple question, but I got to be honest, it's going to take some practice to dig down and find that best answer for you. Everybody's business is going to be slightly different. But, you know, for those of us who have ever, I mentioned my wife earlier. Now, I'm obviously not the best husband because I don't think about taking vacations. A few other things that I do that she would be happy to give you a long laundry list. But remember, I said this is one of the best principles that you can have in your life. For me to make things better at home, the same question applies. What's the one thing that I can do right now with my wife that makes everything else easier or unnecessary? Think about how our relationship changed once I started doing that.
Start investing more time in your wife?
Yep. Actually, I did one more thing. The one thing that I can do that makes it easier. Remember, I said I'm hard-headed or hard of hearing, but my one thing was to listen. Right? But it's that one thing, right? With my kids, what's the one thing that I could do that could change their life, especially when it comes to school? Wasn't punishing them. It was listen to them and help them learn how to think on their own. It's made all the difference in the world. Right now, it takes a little bit of time and effort to get there. Honestly, my wife will tell you that I still haven't figured it out. Right? I probably can show you the lump on the back of my head from when I was snoring last night to prove it. But, you know, it's going to take some work to get there. But trust me, if you focus in on that one thing, it can make a difference, not just in your business, but in your life. This rule applies to so much. So we're back to this slide again, right? The thing, what are the two things that a successful real estate agent does every single day?
Grow and run.
Grow and run, right? So you should see this slide in almost every class, right? So we know this is how they're going to spend their time, right? Now remember, everything that's listed on here has to be done, right? And we got this list from interviewing not just agents who have $1 million business, but agents who are netting $1 million each year. One of the agents who would, or an agent that I talked to and asked questions to, is netting and trying to net $2 billion next year, right? They follow the same principle. So if we're looking at these activities, what do you think is the 20% that's on all of these activities?
Lead generate.
Lead generation. You know what? You would have got the horn earlier today and you get another horn now. Bum, 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 bum. You're absolutely right. Lead generation, right? So this is what makes people successful.
That's why it's sitting at number 1.
That is exactly why it's at number 1, right? We wanted the secret sauce earlier. This is going to get you to all the goals that we listed, right? We go through that box, that lead generation will make things better for you, right? Lewis mentioned when we very early when we started, one thing that he learned was how to lead generate, right? He didn't realize by just having a conversation. It stuck home with me because I didn't either. As much as I love to talk, I didn't realize how often I lead generate and didn't think about it. If you haven't taken Bold, there will be Bolds coming up throughout the course of this year. This is the exact moment I realized. In Bold, they're going to ask you to speak to 100 people or lead gen to 100 people. I thought that was the most difficult thing in the world for me to be able to do. I'll be damned if I didn't speak to 100 people by the time it was 12 noon. How? Because one, I'm walking through a store, I'm teaching at a class, I'm interacting with so many different people, but I never thought of it as lead generation before. And now once I'm adding it to the box, you know what you find out? People don't think of it as lead generation when they know you genuinely deep down want to help. Go back and look at your big why. Go back and look at why you are focusing on getting things. A lot of us have things written down because this is what we want to do for other people. We're not selfish in nature. We want to help others. And helping people in real estate, they want to jump in. A lot of them want to help you with their goal. I can be honest, when people, and I didn't share my mother's story to a lot, but the few people who I did or knew that there was something troubling me, I'm still ever grateful. And I'm getting through it without getting emotional, but ever grateful because people jump in and they wanted to help me. They wanted to do transactions with me. How can I help? You know what? I was looking at doing this. Now might be the perfect time because I want to make sure that you can get the goals that you need to get to. You know, it's all that there is, right? So if we focus on this 20%, if we have this be the first thing you do every single day, right? That big rock, everything else can flow. And what you'll find is some of these other little things become not necessarily unnecessary, but so much easier to go through. And you'll probably find out that you can do 2 things at once because if you're lead generation, somebody's probably going to ask you about, hey, have you seen the house on 123 Main Street? What are you doing? Previewing real estate at the same time, but you're also lead genning. Oh, it's beautiful how it works. It is. Now, this is a key. This will help you get to where we need to be. At KW, we believe in 3 things: systems, models, and tools, right? We want to model our business after somebody else who's done it before. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. And when we're modeling our business after theirs, we're going to use some of the same systems that they use, right? Make it easy on yourself. We don't have to reinvent anything. And then the next thing that we go through, if we're following their systems, we want to use the tools that they use. Those tools are going to help, you know, in the chat, it's going to help clean up that mess. It's going to help organize where we are, right? So turn to page 7 in your participant guide. And if you guys are digital, there's a digital copy of a 411 inside of your kit. So I just said the phrase 411. You see it on the screen. Do you guys know exactly what a 411 is, or do you have an idea of what a 411 is?
I think of 411, I think of information.
Information?
Mm-hmm.
That actually is not bad. It actually is information that helps you get to where you need to be. But at KW, you'll hear this phrase often, 401 and GPS. But a 411, this is your action plan, right? And it probably should be 114. And I should pull mine up so you guys can see mine too. But I actually do mine 3114. So what it stands for is, what is your annual goal, right? So what's that one annual goal? What do you need to do each month to reach your annual goal? And 4 weeks in a month, what are those 4 weekly goals that you need to achieve to be able to reach the monthly goal that gets you to your annual goal? And it just so happens I push mine out to 3 years to see what comes next, right? So let's go through and let's look at the 5 rectangles from earlier, right? Now, while all of them are important, I want you to take the one that is the most urgent, or, you know, the big rock out of those 5 things that we listed, right? That one that would make all the other parts of your life, all the other visions that you have on that sheet easier to accomplish, right? So now this could be a personal, it could be a professional thing, but I want you to take that one. We're going to break this down, all right? Now, I'm going to tell you, sometimes the personal and professional, they do overlap. But tonight, I want us to focus on the professional goals, right? Personal goals are equally as important, but we want to go on the professional side because this is going to help fund the things we want to do on the personal side. So I want you to focus on one of the professional goals. All right. Somebody shout out, what's the amount? And you can do it all at multiple times, but shout out, what's the amount that you need to fund that box of your big life? You need to go back. It's page 3. So on page 3 of participant guide, right? When we wrote down our big life, the things that we wanted to do. For some, it was to fund their kids' schools. Lewis, he wanted to pay off his son's student loan debt. Mine was to get the funds for my mother to be able to go to the the 2-bedroom house and make sure that we paid off her car. But whichever one is the biggest one of those big whys that you put there, right? What was that financial amount that you needed to be able to achieve your goal? Oh, y'all must have forgot that I said I could sit here in silence.
$480,000.
480,000. All right. So, Lewis, did you want to have that in 1 year? Or were you breaking that down? What was the number of years that you wanted to achieve that goal? You're back on mute.
Sorry. Realistically, probably 3 years.
3 years? All right. So we're just going to take that 480,000 divided by 3, and that's going to be our annual goal. I know it's math. I used to be able to do it off the top of my head, but now I use calculator. All right, that's 160,000. All right, so now we're going to go down. That's our annual goal, right? So what we're going to do next is now we need to figure out what do we need to do monthly to achieve that goal, right? Now, as we're breaking down, let's remember if the average commission is 9,000, right? So, yep, that's what, divided by 12. Before we go there, divide the 160,000 by 9,000. 17. All right, so we have an annual goal of $160,000, right? And then we have 17 units that we need to go through, right? All right, so now let's break it down monthly. When we break it down monthly, what's 160,000 divided by 12? 13,000, right? 13,333. Now, for all my math people and all the people who love to break things down, do we think that I'm missing anything in this calculation so far? This is actually a test. Where does our money go?
Taxes.
Uncle Sam.
Where else?
Business expenses.
Business expenses. Market center. Absolutely. So
What's market center?
So the market center, that is your office, your location that you work out of, right? So each market center, each Keller Williams office, each brokerage will have an amount that you pay into that brokerage, right? A lot of us at KW, we call it market centers based upon your location. So let's use the averages that we saw before. Now, Lewis, I don't know what the splits are at your market center. We're not going to go into that. So we're going to use averages, right? You can break yours down independently if you know it. So we're going to say that the cap that you pay to your market center, we're going to use the numbers that we saw from earlier today, 27,000. You have your royalty fee of $3,000, right? Your business expenses. If you were independent, we had listed $50,000 as a generality earlier. I'm going to tell you as an independent agent, especially starting off in your first year, you're not going to spend $50,000, but you need to spend something. So we're going to make that number $20,000. All right. So we're going to add in, add this up for me. So 27 and 3, that's 30,000 plus another 20. So that should be $50,000, right? All right. So now we need to add that 50,000 to your 160.
20,000.
I got it. It's 210,000. My brain's working again. I'm here. All right. So remember when we looked at this formula earlier, I'll go back to it so we can see exactly where we get these numbers from. So in setting up the goals for Lewis, right? We have it listed where one, his net income goal that he needs. Oops. My pen's not working. Hold on 1 second. All right, so here we go. His income goal is 160,000. We're using the same example of company dollar and royalty, so we said it's going to be 30,000. For his business expenses, we changed the business expenses down to $20,000 for his first year. So his total GCI that he needs, right, is going to be, he had 160 plus 30 plus 20. That gives us a total amount of 210,000. So now divide 210,000 by the $9,000 of the average GCI.
That's like
23.
23.
So, yep. So your annual transaction goals that you have will be 23 homes that you'll need to sell in the year to reach your goal.
That's doable.
Very doable, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So now let's break it down further. So now we need to know what we need to do monthly. So for monthly, what's 23 divided by 12? 1.9. Now, if anybody has ever sold a 0.9 of or a 900th of a house, please let me know how you did that, and I'll be amazed. We're going to round that up to 2. So 2 homes a month. All right. So now at 2 homes a month, it will get us there. Now, what do we need to do on a weekly basis for you to get to 2 homes a month?
Generate leads.
Oh, I took the words right out of my mouth, right? So now this is where your market center and some training comes in. Now, because I could talk all day, I'm not going to go as deep as I normally would on this, but I'm going to tell, this is where command comes in. This is where your coach comes in. This is where we get to help you focus in on how to get there, right? Because what we will look at in command, you'll be able to break down exactly how many contacts it takes, right? And we're going to call these conversion rates. So this will help you set your weekly goal. Your conversion rate that you have is how many people do I need to talk to before somebody schedules an appointment with me? How many appointments do I need to go on before somebody signs a listing or a buyer's agreement with me? After the appointments that I've set, or after the agreement's been signed, how often do those homes close, right? So if I had 10 listing agreements signed, did I close all 10 or am I only closing 70%? Little known fact, the top tier teams across the country are only closing 70% of the listing agreements and 65% of the buyer's agency agreements that they sign. No one is at 100%. You will be when you first start off. You know why? Because everybody that you close will be a part of your sphere. But if you're always at 100% of the listing agreements signed, I can guarantee you one thing, you're not talking to enough people. As much as I think everybody in the world loves me, I'm going to whisper this because I don't even like saying it. Some people have chosen not to work with me. It happens. It's a part of this business, right? So just know that if you're at 100% of everything, that means you need to talk to more people because we fail forward, right? So when we're breaking down what we need to go through, how do we need to get there? I'm going to fast forward to a slide that I'm sure you've seen at the end of each class. What goals have we set out? Add 10 contacts to your database a day. Have 10 conversations about real estate a day. You know, your conversations about real estate don't have to be that same phrase of, do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell a home that you can put me in contact with? One of the best things that will help out the majority of us on this call, remember, we wrote down inside of those rectangles earlier, something that would help somebody else's life out. I almost can guarantee that each person on this call has somebody who would be willing to help you out. If only they knew what you needed help in. And Louis, I'll pick on you since we're going through the numbers. So, you know, your goal of paying off your son's tuition or your son's college education. If somebody knew that goal and knew that this is why you're in real estate, do you think they'd be willing to sit down and have a conversation with you?
Absolutely.
We got the people. We have it there. So 10 conversations about real estate a day. Let them know what you're in it for. Let them know what your goals are. Let them know what you're striving for. Now, that 10 handwritten notes, I'm going to let you in on another secret. You know, this isn't just a real estate thing. My wife's physical therapy practice, it's open. Now, she has some doctors that she's worked with in other clinics before, but in opening our clinic, there was a couple of agreements she had to sign with some clinics that she chose to leave, that she couldn't take their clients for a certain period of time or through a certain number of mileage. So guess what we did? I had her start and write thank you notes to the doctors in the area. Not just thank you notes, but notes saying, hey, I'm new in the area, would love to start working with you. I'm really excited about the business that I've opened. Please give me a chance. Not only did doctors start sending people over, but now they're thank you notes for thank you for sending this referral to me. A great thing in a thank you note is if you have a conversation, you sit down with somebody, that little measure of gratitude. Let them know thank you. Matter of fact, one of the guys that I interviewed recently, you know how he got started? He faked it till he made it. So he was big on social media. He had no listings, no buyers, no nothing, but he had a friend who wanted to help him in his business. So they went to an open house together. And when they went to the open house together, he filmed his friend walking through, showing him what it's like to show somebody a house. Now, his friend wasn't ready to buy. His friend was just doing it because he wanted to help him in his real estate career. But do you know by his friend doing that, he was able to get his first buyer? Now, his friend eventually bought from him, but that's somebody who's willing to go a long way. Perfect opportunity to write a thank you note, not just to your friend, but to the agent who let them use the open house. Now, you got to get better at your craft, right? You got to sharpen your skill set. You have access to preview and see different levels of real estate. We should be going through and doing that. So now we go through the things that we need to do weekly, right? And we're breaking down our goals for what we should do 4 times. So we should definitely have lead gen listed in. Not just have lead gen listed in, but there should be a number attached to it. This week, I am going to talk to X amount of people. What matters for you? You know, when I got started, I called it vitamins. And for me, my vitamins were, and right, you take vitamins, you get stronger, you get better. So my vitamins always were this. I had 15 calls to make every day. And I realized out of the 15 calls that I would make, I would at least be able to talk to 8 people. Out of the 8 people that I would talk to, I would be able to find and usually schedule at least 4 appointments. Now, not all of my appointments were specifically set up to sell real estate or find out if they're willing to buy. Some of the appointments were, you know, and I look back on it, it sounds very salesy, but at the same time, hey, I just started working in real estate. You want to grab coffee with me so I can practice my speech on what I need to tell my next client? People want to help. They showed up. Now, it cost me a beer or two, but you know what? That beer or two ended up getting me a house or two. But that's an appointment that I was able to set, right? So out of those 4 appointments that I set, and this ended up being a goal later on, but then I started putting a task to myself. Could I get 2 agreements signed from the people? You know what's amazing about script practice and going through scripts with people? Even if they know you're reading the script, I'll be doggone if those things don't work. And even the people who know you're practicing will say, you know what, it sounds kind of nice. So what do we need to do to get this started? True story. So I am doing this with one of my friends, and I know that they are there to help me. And they asked the question, and it was on the script. They said, usually at this point, the person will ask, how do we take the next step? And so I'm like, man, you wouldn't believe this is what it says. And he was like, no, stupid. How do we take the next step? I'm ready to go. I want to buy. How do I work with you? I still didn't get it. I was like, man, this script is really good. Of course, it didn't say stupid in there, but no, that being my friend, it literally took him 3 times to tell me, I want to buy a house with you. What do I need to do next? And I knew we were sitting there script practicing together. Scripts work. It's easy conversation to jump in and work with people on. And sometimes be vulnerable. Tell a little bit about yourself, right? I mean, if you're giving your reason why you're into it, trust me, it goes a long, long way and can help out. All right. I go on my tangents. Sometimes I got to remind me that I only have 2 hours because I can talk all day. All right. So we set our weekly goals. We put a number attached to it. Now, just as our big life, your big life that you created earlier, that should be somewhere in your vision, in your life, that you can see it and focus on it on an almost daily basis. Your 411, you should be using that 411 daily. Why daily? Because if you have a weekly goal of talking to 10 people, then every time you talk to a person, that should be a check mark off that list. You should have a goal of how many people do you want to meet with on a regular basis. If you want to meet with 2 people a week, then you should be going back to your goals to check off when you meet with the first 2 people. And that should replicate each week to drive you to your goals. Now, what do? If week 1, you have a goal of talking to 10 people, but you only talk to 5? What do you think your week 2 goal should now be?
15.
You got it. If you wanted to have 2 appointments in week 1, you only went on 1. What should your week 2 goal be?
3.
There you go. See, it's not science on rockets. This is the part where we got to put the work in. Yes, I know rocket science, but I like saying science on rockets. I am from the Midwest. I lived in the South afterwards, so I got a lot of phrases for days, and I'll throw them all out there. But that's that part where the work comes in, right? And we do have to put in that work to get the goals that we want. And if we're not hitting our goals in week 1, guess what? If we're using this 411, this will make sure that you're on track as you go forward to achieve the goals that you have, or the goals that you need to hit. Now, this is why I tell you, don't lose focus, right? And I'm going to be honest, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. You know, one of the most frustrating things that I had to go home to, and I say go home to, is you have a day. Now, mind you, I have my goals set. I can tell you right now how many conversations it takes for me to get somebody to change their mind and do that, because I track all these things. Anything gets tracked, gets measured. Anything gets measured drives results. Say it again. Anything that gets tracked gets measured. Anything that gets measured drives results, right? So that's the reason why I know how many conversations it takes for me to get an appointment, how many phone calls it takes for me to get somebody to answer, right? I track all those things. So I had a horrible day. Spoke to 16 people. No appointments were set. Everybody seemed like they wanted nothing to do with me. I even had people who were scheduled for later on in that week call and back out on me. So I am beat down. I am dejected. I go home. Now you would think my loving wife would have some kind words of affirmation, but she kindly reminded me how I left my clothes out on the bed from the night before, how I left shoes in the middle of the floor, how I didn't wash the dishes. And so now I feel like I'm getting failure from all over the place, right? And those are the moments when you're low, when you feel like, man, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. But that's also the moments when you look at your big life, you look at that sheet, you look at the reason why you're doing what you're doing. And that lets you get up the next day and push forward. You know, I did it in the recent interview. I like referencing this one because it was with Montez McRae. Montez had a great story, right? This is the young man who bought the Range Rover. So he got his real estate license, and then he also got a close to six-figure job at the exact same day. Within 2 months, he got fired from that job. But he also had 2 clients that were in agreements with him, as a matter of fact, under contract. So everything's going to be all right. Would you believe within a week, both of those clients didn't go forward and then fired him as their agent? So he went from being employed close to 6 figures, having a side business where on his first 2 deals, you know, one was 700,000, the next was 160,000, so 800,000 between the 2. He was going to make a nice amount of money, so much so he bought his Range. But by his 3rd month, he had nothing but a big bill to pay. And that's that moment, right, where it's easy to lose focus. But he did something. He thought about his big why. He thought about his family that he's working for, the effort that he needed to put forward. And that's what drove him to get to the point where in this same first year, closing 11 million in a 7-month span. I'm going to tell you, it's the routines you put in place. It's how often you put in that work. It's those who love the grind. One of the agents in my office, you know, he throws out, like, he'll say a phrase and I'll repeat back to him, but his is, man, he loves the work. Honestly, so this is what we do. We put in that work. If you love that grind, you know, once you start having success, as you put in those efforts, you're going to start seeing your work pay off. Right? And when that work starts paying off, you fall in love with the grind that you go through. You'll enjoy honing in on those systems, sharpening your skill sets, and competing at the highest level within this industry. And competing with yourself to get to your next level, right? And then I'll be honest, there are going to be others who will never fall in love with that grind. But it's okay. Doesn't mean that you're doomed, doesn't mean that you're going to fail. You know, you're going to find out that some days you're in love with this business more than others. But it's giving you something to keep you motivated to go further, right? If you don't fall in love with the grind, I can tell you right now that I have an agent who told me specifically, this is a side business for them. This will always be a side business for them because of their government job that they have. And while we talk about the big life and the big goals, she's using real estate just to fund the fun in her life. So she's going to produce around 3 million every single year because that allows her to take the vacation she wants to take, to drive the car she wants to drive, and to have fun. So we don't have to conquer the world. You don't have to have such a big goal that you're quitting whatever job you're at. You don't have to have a goal that you're going to take over and run a market center. But this is your life. This is what you can do. These are the things that you can run with and that you can be successful with, right? Now, we're going to do something. Now, it may sound silly at first, but it's a crucial part of building careers worth having and businesses worth earning and a life worth living, right? We're going to do an affirmation. So I want you guys to turn to page 8 in your participant guide. All right, so we're going to create for ourselves a little ritual. So think back to the big life, right? So on page 3, those rectangles, right? And the goals that we set. I want you to think about one of those people or one of the causes that you name, something you care deeply about. And I want you to use that person or that thing. We're going to create an affirmation. And whenever we're having one of those moments, You're going to say that affirmation aloud whenever you begin a new task, right? Now, the key to creating a powerful affirmation is you got to be specific, right? Tie the activity that you're looking for towards the greater goal and remind yourself why, what you're doing in this moment, what you're about to go through. You're about to lead gen, why it matters. A great example of this is Donna earlier today. When she does work for other people, she can lead gen easy, right? So think about that as we create this affirmation, tie it in, right? So I'm going to use the example that's listed here, and then I'll give one of the affirmations that I use. So the example listed here is, let's say that part of your big life is ensuring that your mom is well cared for as she ages. And let's say that one way you want to do that is to help pay off her house. Sounds like somebody's goal earlier. So I want you to write an affirmation that you will say out loud before every call that you make when you lead generate. For instance, it could say, I'm making this call to provide for my mom by paying off her house because she provided for me and I want to show her I appreciate her. And let's say your cause is a charity. You could say that I'm making this call to support Ronald McDonald House by paying for families to stay there because I want to reduce the suffering for families with sick children. You want to hear the one that I work for each day? I am providing opportunities so that my children never have to work for someone else. And then I follow it up with, well, they ain't gonna have to work for me. So I'm gonna find one of these jobs that they can do because they little butts are going to work. But my affirmation is I do not want them to have to work for anyone else. Every day I say that, every day. And the question is, what if it's your mortgage? Awesome. Then find an affirmation that reminds you that you can pay off your mortgage. Want to know a secret? Well, obviously, first of all, I have no secrets because I just share everything. But I had a goal a long time ago, and I wanted to pay off my mortgage. Now, one of my houses is paid off in full, but my primary residence, I just didn't know if you could actually do it. So I was working towards it. And if I wanted at this exact moment, I could write a check and pay off my house. So if your goal is to pay off your mortgage, say an affirmation that you can do it. Make it strong, make it powerful, make it meaningful to you. All right, I'm gonna give you guys 2 minutes to go through and write it down. And then we're going to share. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, as you're reading this affirmation, right? You want to make this powerful because this is going to be the difference between you making 3 calls in a day, or you sitting down and making calls for 3 hours that day. Are you lead genning? Are you working to grow or run your business for 3 hours in a day? Because this makes the difference, right? You know, when my mother was sick, that affirmation is no longer because I fulfilled it, but my affirmation changed from, you know, my kids to, I need mama to never have to worry for anything. I am doing anything I have to do so she doesn't have to worry. The last thing I need her to do is stress. Right? It hit home for me. So I'll share 2 of the affirmations that I used. Somebody please share with me theirs.
I'm doing this to help my sons start their lives with a debt-free slate.
Yes. But Lewis, let me get you to go deeper on that, right? What does that allow them to do?
It allows them to choose their life and to choose what they want to do with life and not have to worry about $250,000 college bill.
So change your affirmation, change the end of it, not to start a debt-free life, but for them to do whatever they want to do.
Right.
It's powerful in that, right?
Yes, it is.
It makes a difference in what they can do. I love that affirmation. I love that. I think that is going to be a motivating factor on a daily basis. You can make a difference. You can change their life. Louis, you can give them that future.
Thank you.
Who else?
I'm making this call to provide for single parents and others to help them get back on their feet because I was once there, and I want to enable them to succeed, focus on their children, and stop struggling.
Can I tell you how powerful that is? So, a good friend of mine. See, now you have to make me get emotional. It means a lot, but a good friend, a real estate agent who meant a lot to me, my career, and to others in this industry recently passed away. Your affirmation is what he worked for. He understood what it was like to have a single mother, to be in a home where you have people who have needs, and he worked every day to make sure that they were taken care of. That affirmation allowed him to build a business that roughly sold 200 homes a year. For him to start a nonprofit, a place to call home to help underprivileged, underserved, have a home that they can go to. When I tell you your affirmation is so powerful, you can change the world with that affirmation. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Who else? And you know what? And before I say who else, this is what I want you guys to go through. Everybody who's in this class, right now, COVID world is different, and it let everything go into Zoom and things of that nature. But this is what's beautiful about it. This has allowed you to connect with so many people. You're now connected with people who are in different market centers that you may not meet them on a regular basis. But I'll be honest with you, take down the names of the people that you see here. These are the people who are going through the same thing that you're going through. We've shared affirmations. We understand what our goals are with each other. The people who are here, that's who you can call on when you are having a day, when your affirmation, it's getting to you. It makes you want to get there, but you just don't have that oomph. That's when you get to call somebody who's on this call, right? Have them be an accountability partner for you. Make that connection. See, my title, and I told you guys in the beginning, I'm the team leader of this market center. But I changed my title to Director of Relationships because I know one thing. This business is about relationships. Not just the relationship you have with your clients, but the relationships you have with other agents. That is what's going to propel you to go further, right? Get a couple more affirmations. These have been very powerful, very, very powerful.
Okay. I'm making this call to support my grandchildren and give them a better start to their life.
Oh my goodness. That's huge. Give them an opportunity to be what they want to be, how they want to be, and do what they want to do. I love that. Oh, Lori, I love it.
Brandon.
Yes.
Well, you probably just saw that's why I want to pay off my mortgage. So my affirmation is I'm making this call to pay down my mortgage so I can feel secure in my old age. I'm sorry, I just got emotional because my mom passed from it.
It's all right. We're here for you.
And I want to feel secure.
It's all right.
That's okay. So I just don't, I like this idea of saying an affirmation before you make the call. I just don't know how to write it.
It's all right. It's all right. The exact words you need will be there, but you said so much just in that phrase. To be secure. To be secure. That means so much. You know, you guys know everything about me here in a short period of time. My wife is terribly afraid. Alzheimer's runs in my family. Dementia runs in my family. And they say it skips a generation. Fortunately enough, my parents' generation is going to be okay. So then who does that leave? Now, also because I told you I might be hard of hearing and hard-headed at the same time. So she thinks that I forget things on a regular basis. It might just be because I haven't heard it, but at the same time, she says I repeat stories often too. So for her, she looks at it on a regular basis that she wants to make sure that our family is taken care of. She didn't want to open her own clinic. She didn't want to go through that. She was afraid. She thought it'd be too much work. And we had conversations about it, but I said, look, there's an opportunity there. And she loves helping people. I'll tell you, she loves helping people. If you ever need a physical therapy, she's in Largo, but if you ever need a physical therapist, all of her patients call her a drill sergeant, I'm sorry, because you cannot be in her clinic and not work to get better. She will jump all over you, right? And so when we started having that conversation, she broke down and she told me that she was concerned about what would happen if, as we get older and now, and my brain just doesn't work, right? And I have money put aside. I'm working my butt off for it, but that never was my goal, is to make sure that I'm okay. I'm thinking about my kids, and I wanted her to get something that was set up. And through the numbers, and we ran through it, she realized that if we have it set up correctly, if anything were to happen with me, the kids will be okay. My vision for them, never having to work for anyone else, comes true. And we're there. See, these affirmations, we're talking about it from real estate tonight, right? We're talking about the real estate business that we have. But these are life-changing, right? We think about the 80-20 rule that we went through. I was being facetious and lighthearted about, my wife and me listening and just changing that one thing, but it made a difference. Like, all those things can change who you are and where you're going to. These affirmations are so powerful. It will help you get there. Her practices, ooh, Lord, hold on.
Put you on the spot there.
It did, and the worst part is I can't even think of it off the top of my head. I'm about to give you the old version of it.
I just want to take a second to thank all of you who have shared so far for being vulnerable. It really means a lot that you trust us on this call with the information you've shared.
And as I pull up, I'm actually going to go through and grab the operating agreement from when we opened up, because I don't know why I can't remember it right now. Actually, I know why, because I'm trying not to cry on some of our affirmations and a few other things that we went through. But just what you said, not only are we still Forever Fit Physical Therapy. I don't know why I can remember that. Forever Fit. So it's in Largo, Forever Fit in Largo. So, oops, where were we? Sorry, oh, I was aggressive clicking and didn't even see it on my screen. Take the time. Somebody who shared, somebody that you connected with, somebody who's in your market center. Find an accountability partner. That accountability partner is going to be there with you, and they will help push and guide you. Now, as open as people been on this call tonight, we've been open because we trust that everybody in this room is pushing for the same thing. They're not going to let you down. They won't let you fail. If you're not working towards that goal, that person will tell you. With that accountability partner, we're going to share not just our affirmation, but we're going to share your 411. You're going to share the goals that you're working towards. Have them push you just like you're going to push them. We talk about creating relationships. Those are going to be the relationships that 10 years from now, when you're in this industry, you both will look back and be so amazed with what you've accomplished and what you've done. Sync time on your calendars together, even if it's 30 minutes. Do an hour, find time to grab coffee. We're all not that far from each other, right? Encourage each other through the tough times. I'm going to tell you, it may be sweet like candy, right? But you're going to go through a tough spell. But the goals that you want to reach are directly in front of you. We're going to turn the dreams into actionable plans with people who stand behind you to get you there. What's my time frame? Where are we at? Oh, 8:05. All right. So I'm running just a little bit over, but I think we're getting somewhere. All right. So the last bit, let's share together. What did we learn tonight? What was good about tonight's session? Or what was bad? You can tell me I'm terrible. I've heard it before. I use failure to get better.
Don't be afraid to set the goal big.
I love it. Very good one.
I don't have to actually know everything.
Nope. First of all, look, I'm as ignorant as they come. But I find a way. And I know a bunch of great people.
As long as there's breath in your body, don't ever give up. I almost lost my life on May 26th in a hit and run, and me and my children were almost killed last year. And I'm a hairstylist, so I got into real estate because I had to have a plan B, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to do hair again. So I'm just thankful for my life and thankful to be here. And now I see everything is brand new. I'm just trying to make the most of every day and enjoy my time here.
Look, I'm thankful that you're here.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
Not only am I thankful that you're here, I'm thankful that you chose real estate because you're going to change somebody else's life. I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to make the difference in the lives of not just one person. There are going to be many people that you come across that you are going to change their life. You were saved for a reason.
Amen.
Be that change in somebody's life. I love it. That's very good.
Something that I'll be taking away from tonight's lesson was actually something posted in the chat. And that is, success in your business is determined by your mess. And that's using MESS as an acronym for your mindset, execution, strategy, and support.
Oh, I like that. Where's my horn? Ba, 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 ba. Yes. See, guess what I'm going to do? I am going to steal that. Because like I said, I'm as ignorant as they come, but I'm going to sound smart when I use that next time.
What was the M and the E?
All right, so you got to have, it's all about your mess, your mindset, your execution, your strategy, and your support.
That's good.
I'll be doggone if I ain't sound like I'm a genius right now saying it. There we go. I like that.
Thank you, Leslie, for that little nut of insight.
You're welcome.
Very good. I might start clicking. Well, hold on. Did I stop the share? Hold on. I'll stop sharing because I'm about to start clicking because I got to save this in my. I have to save my little newfound phrase. Give me 1 second. All right, and all right, let me get 2 more ahas and then we can wrap up for the night.
Your dreams do not have to remain your dreams. they should and can be your reality. All you have to do is set yourself for success by achieving your goals, setting goals, achieving your goals, run and grow your business.
Well said. Well said. Well said. All right, let's say 3 more or 2 more. I know. And Don, I was so excited when I saw your name on the board. It's been fabulous. We have to reconnect, but yeah, it's amazing and what we've been able to go through. And Lewis, I'm gonna double up on what you said, because you actually made me think about something different in just in the conversation. Your goals don't have to remain your goals. But what I also heard in that was your goals can change and they can shift without a moment's notice, right? How often does life come and just slap us in the face and now we got to figure out what we're going to do next?
Right. You have to make a U-turn, or you have to do something, redirect yourself.
Yep. But a lot of times, if you already have a plan in place, if you're already working towards those goals, you know, no matter what comes at you, it doesn't hurt as bad, because you actually have something in place that can get you there. Now, when I got the news about my mother, it hurt. But the funny part was, this is one of the few times, well, I can't say that, but what I really appreciated, and this is when I really felt like I made a difference in some of the things that I've done in my past, was the amount that we needed to come up with in such a short period of time. It didn't turn into the conversations where now I'm talking with my brother, I'm trying to figure it out, where I'm really digging deep with my wife. It was very easy for me to say, all right, this is already in my plan of what I need to do. Now I just need to reallocate the money that I'm bringing in to go there and to have it taken care of without batting an eye. But that was a curveball that I was able to jump in and go through. It was very good, very good. So yeah, things can change at the drop of a dime, but if you have a goal and a plan in place, you can make a difference.
That's right.
All right. Well, I can tell you that I am actually pleased. See, this is why I cut out the command section. So remember, homework that you have. You do need to talk to your Market Center tech trainer, your productivity coach, the coach in the Market Center, the TL, or somebody who has experience with command, and have them show you how to set up your goals. All right. Command is going to be great for you because it will track it along the way. Also, you'll find this in other classes that we'll go through, but as I talked about your conversion rates that help you understand the metrics of how to get to achieving your goals, you will see those conversion rates broken down. What are the conversion rates? Is basically your 4 conversations. Those conversations are, how many people do I need to meet with, or how many people do I need to talk with to get an appointment? After I have an appointment, how many appointments do I need to go on before somebody signs an agreement to work with me? After I have the agreement signed, how many of those go to closing? Those are your conversations that you want to track and know. If you know that, you will see a change happen in your business relatively soon. All right, I'm going to put my contact information in the chat for us all. It's probably going to come over in a bunch of things. All right. You have any questions? You want follow-up? You're curious about anything as you're going through your career path? I'm here. I told you every day I wake up thinking about how I can provide value to somebody else, right? And me doing that is what enables me to be better every single day. So if you have a question, you need something, do not hesitate to reach out, all right? Any questions before we wrap up for the evening? All right. Well, to my beautiful people in the classroom, I appreciate you this evening. I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to see what you guys will do. All right. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you very much, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
I appreciate
Night,
you.
everybody.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Oh, now you're done?
Yeah, I couldn't wait 5 minutes.
I told him, it's like, you want me to order you guys food for you?
Yeah, why did you order?
That's the best part, isn't it, Brandon?
Hey, I love it. Hey, I love it. You know? Well, technically, it's my fault. I ran over a little bit. But yeah, you know.
Great presentation, brother. Appreciate
Oh,
you.
man. I appreciate it. Thank you guys, man. You guys make it easy for me. So I truly enjoy it.
Hope to meet you in person one of these days.
Hey, we'll probably have some events coming up soon now that the weather's breaking and the world's opening up again. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Thank
See
you
you
guys.
next
Have a good evening.